Hey Patreons. So in this video, we're going to be learning all about Laci Peterson, from her early life to her marriage with Scott Peterson and of course her murder. So I've got some good information pulled up here. So I'm just going to get to reading. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you to everyone that signed up for the Patreon. That helps me out so much, guys. And I want to let you guys know what I do with some of the Patreon money. I've been using my Patreon money to pay for my StreamYards every month so that I can live stream unlimited. And what I have left over, I use on the Funny Farm. And all my super chats, it goes to the Funny Farm just to buy their feed and stuff. It helps out a lot. Anyways, thank you guys. And I plan on doing a lot more Patreon videos like this. I can't promise one every day, but I'm going to try to get on track and do one a week where we just learn about, a case that, made national headlines. Okay, so I'm going to get started. Laci Denise Rocha was born May 4th, 1975, to Sharon and Dennis Robert Rocha, who had met in high school and owned a dairy farm west of Escalon, California. I probably didn't pronounce that right. Sharon named Laci after a pretty girl she met in high school. Laci's older brother, Brent Rocha, was born in 1971. Laci worked on the farm from a young age and also enjoyed gardening with her mother, an activity with which she developed an appreciation for plant life that influenced her later in life. Sharon and Dennis divorced when Laci and her brother Brent were young. Sharon and the children moved to Modesto, though the children visited the dairy farms on weekends. Sharon eventually married Ron Gretzky, who helped raise Laci and Brent from the time Laci was 2 years old. Dennis also remarried, gaining a stepson, Nathan Hazard, and with his second wife, he had another daughter, Amy Woodward. Laci was a cheerleader in junior high school, and let me just screen share her pictures before I go on. Sorry, guys, I'm so unorganized. Okay. So Laci was a cheerleader in junior high school and high school. After graduating from Thomas Downey High School, she attended California Polytech State University, where she majored in ornamental horticulture. While at California Polytech, Laci would sometimes visit a friend who worked at a restaurant in Morro Bay called the Pacific Cafe. There she met her friend's coworker, Scott Peterson, in mid 1994. Laci made the first move, sending Scott her phone number, and immediately after meeting him, she told her mother that she had met the man that she would marry. Scott later called Laci and they began dating. Their first date being a deep sea fishing trip on which Laci got seasick. As Laci's relationship with Scott grew more serious, he put aside his dreams of professional golf in order to focus on a business path. The couple dated for 2 years and eventually moved in together. While Scott finished his senior year, Laci took a job in nearby Prindale. Prosecutors have stated that around this time, Scott engaged in his first of at least two extramarital affairs, though they have not revealed a name or details of each relationship. After her graduation, the couple married at Sycamore Mineral Springs Resort in St. Luis Obispo counties, Avila Valley. I probably didn't pronounce that right, guys. Sorry. On August 9th, 1997. Peterson graduated with a Bachelor's of Science degree in agricultural business in June 1998. After their graduations, the Petersons opened up a sports bar in San Luis Obispo called The Shack. Business was initially slow, but eventually improved, especially on the weekends. They sold the shack in 2000 when they moved to Laci's hometown of Modesto, California to start a family. In October 2000, they purchased a three-bedroom, two-bath bungalow house for $177,000 on Covina Avenue in an upscale neighborhood near La Loma Park. Laci soon took a part-time job as a substitute teacher, and Scott got a job with Trade Corp USA, a newly founded subsidiary of a European fertilizer company, in which Scott earned a salary of $5,000 a month before taxes. That's a pretty good lot for a month, $5,000. Laci's family, including her mother and younger sister, related that she worked enthusiastically at being the perfect housewife. She enjoyed cooking and entertaining, and that she had her family welcome the news in 2002 that she was pregnant. Laci's initial due date was February 10th, 2003, but was changed to February 16th, 2003 during her third trimester. The couple had planned to name their son Connor. In November 2002, when Laci was 7 months pregnant, Scott was introduced by a friend to a Fresno massage therapist named Amber Fry. In later public statements, Amber Fry said Scott told her he was single, and the two began a romantic relationship. The last time Scott's parents saw Laci was during a 3-day weekend they spent together in Carmel, California, the week before Christmas 2002. Next, we're going to read about the disappearance and the discovery of the bodies. And guys, I apologize if you hear something loud in the background. I'm actually doing laundry, and my washing machine must be tearing up because when it spins, it's really loud. Apart from her husband, Scott, the last two people known to have spoken to Laci before she disappeared was her half-sister, Amy Rocha, and her mother, Sharon. On December 23rd, 2002, at 5:45 p.m., Laci and Scott went to Amy's workplace, Salon, where Amy cut Scott's hair as she did each month. As they spoke, Amy said Scott offered to pick up a fruit basket that she had ordered for her grandfather as a Christmas gift the next day because he would be playing golf at a course nearby. Prosecutors say Scott also told other people he would play golf on the day of Christmas Eve. Her mother Sharon spoke with Laci on the telephone around 8:30 p.m. that evening. Scott later told police that he last saw his wife about 9:30 a.m. on December 24th when he left to go fishing at the Berkeley Marina. He said Laci was watching a cooking television show, preparing to mop the floor, bake cookies, and walk the family dog Mackenzie to a nearby park. At the time of her disappearance, Laci was 8.5 months pregnant. The next morning, Karen Servais, a neighbor of the Petersons, stated that around 10:30 a.m., she found the Petersons' dog, a golden retriever named Mackenzie, and returned him to the Petersons' backyard. Another neighbor named Mike Chiavetta said he saw Mackenzie at about 10:45 a.m. as he played catch with his own dog. The Modesto Bee also reported an unnamed female neighbor who found the dog with the muddy leash wandering in the neighborhood. That neighbor put the dog back in the Petersons' yard, not observing anything was out of place. Scott said he returned home that afternoon to find the house empty. Scott told Laci's mother he found Mackenzie in their backyard, though she related in her book that he later denied this. Laci's 1996 Land Rover Discovery SE was in the driveway. Scott said he showered and washed his clothes because he had gotten wet fishing. According to ABC News, Scott reported Laci missing from their Modesto home. However, the New York Post reported that when Laci still hadn't returned home by 5:15 p.m., Peterson called his mother-in-law, and that a half an hour later, Laci's stepfather, Ron Gransky, called the police. The Modesto Bee also attributes the first call to police by Laci's stepfather, Gransky. After police arrived at the Petersons' home, Laci's keys, wallet, and sunglasses were found in her purse in a closet at the home the evening of December 24th. The dining room table was meticulously set for a family dinner the following night. One detective found a phone book on a kitchen counter, open to a full-page ad for a defense lawyer. Scott was reported to be completely calm. Modesto Police Detective John Bueller and Alan Brocchini, the lead investigators on the case, questioned Scott Peterson that evening. Although Scott initially said he had spent the day golfing, he later told police that he had gone to fish for sturgeon at the Berkeley Marina. At 2:15 p.m., he left a message for Laci stating, "Hey, beautiful, it's 2:15. I'm leaving Berkeley." Scott stated that he went fishing about 90 miles from the couple's Modesto home. Detectives immediately launched a search, but were surprised by Scott Peterson's behavior. One of the detectives told ABC News in 2017, I suspected Scott when I first met him. Didn't mean he did it, but I was a little bit thrown off by his calm, cool demeanor and his lack of questioning. He wasn't, will you call me back? Can I have one of your cards? What are you guys doing now? He didn't ask any of those things. Modesto police and firefighters carried out a massive search along the dry creek in the days after Laci's disappearance. The search came to include helicopters equipped with searchlights, police mounted on horseback, bicycles, canine units, water rescue units on rafts. A total of 30 officers were employed in the search, as well as Laci's loved ones and volunteers who posted flyers to raise awareness of her disappearance. At a press conference, Detective Al Bracchini said the police did not believe that Laci decided to leave without contacting her family. He commented it's completely out of character for her. The initial search and later vigil were organized by immediate family and friends. In the first 2 days, up to 900 people were involved in looking for Laci before community officials or police directly participated in the search and prior to sufficient media coverage. Eventually, the story attracted nationwide media interest. A $25,000 reward was offered, later increased to $250,000, and finally to $500,000 for any information leading to Laci's safe return. Posters, blue and yellow ribbons, and flyers were circulated, and the original basic version of the LaciPeterson.com website was launched by the husband of one of her friends. Friends, family, and volunteers set up a command center at a nearby Red Line hotel to record developments and circulate information. Over 1,500 volunteers signed up to distribute information and to help search for her. On April 13th, 2003, a couple walking their dog found the decomposing but well preserved body of a late term male fetus in a marshy area of the San Francisco Bay shore in Richmond's Point Isabel Regional Shoreline Park, north of Berkeley. Its umbilical cord was still attached, appearing to have been torn, not cut or clamped, as is the normal practice after birth. Although a judge sealed the autopsy results, an anonymous Associated Press source revealed that 1.5 loops of nylon tape were found around the fetus' neck, and a significant cut was on the fetus's body. One day later, a passerby found the body of a recently pregnant woman wearing beige pants and a maternity bra, washed up on the eastern rocky shoreline of the bay, 1 mile away from where the baby's body was found. The corpse was decomposed to the point of being almost unrecognizable as a human body. The woman had been decapitated and her limbs were missing, including most of her legs. On April 18, 2003, the results of the DNA test verified that they were the bodies of Laci and her unborn son, Connor Peterson. The autopsies on both bodies were performed by forensic pathologist Dr. Brian Peterson, no relation to Scott Peterson. According to the autopsy, Connor's skin was not decomposed at all, though the right side of his body was mutilated and the placenta and umbilical cord were not found with the body. Laci's cervix was intact. The exact date and cause of Laci's death was never determined. She had suffered two cracked ribs, though Dr. Peterson could not determine if this occurred before or after her death. Laci's upper torso had been emptied of internal organs except for the uterus, which protected the fetus, explaining the lower level of decomposition it experienced. Dr. Peterson determined that the fetus had been expelled from Laci's decaying body, though he testified that he could not determine whether the fetus had been born alive or dead. There was no food in his stomach, which would have indicated a live birth had it been present. The Associated Press observed that the doctor's testimony appeared contradictory at times, though he stated that no cause of death could be determined for Laci or Connor. He also said it was her death that caused Connor's death while he was still in the uterus. Wow. It's really interesting about how one side of the baby's body was mutilated. It makes me think, is it possible that someone kidnapped Laci and tried to cut her baby from her body? Accidentally cut into the baby? I don't know. Anything's possible. Okay, so let's go over the investigation and trial or read about it. It was later publicized that Scott had numerous extramarital affairs, one of which Laci knew about. The most recent was with a massage therapist named Amber Fry, a single mother from nearby Fresno. The affair began after he met a woman, Shawn Sibley, on October 24, 2002 at a trade convention, where he represented his company, Trade Corp. He told her he was single and looking. He joked that he should put horny bastard on his name tag to help him meet women. Oh, that's real attractive. Though Sibley was attached, she thought he would be a good match for Amber Fry, a friend of hers. Sibley gave Fry's contact information to Scott, and he called her on November 19th, and he met her the next day. After a month-long whirlwind romance, she informed police of their relationship shortly after discovering he was a person of interest in Laci Peterson's disappearance on the local news, and agreed to phone him while police recorded their conversations. She informed police he told her on December 9th, 2 weeks before Laci Peterson's disappearance, he was a widower, and it would be the first Christmas without his wife. Scott Peterson was arrested on April 18, 2003, near a La Jolla golf course. He claimed to be meeting his father and brother for a game of golf. His naturally dark brown hair had been dyed blonde, and his Mercedes was overstuffed with miscellaneous items, including nearly $15,000 in cash, 12 Viagra tablets, survival gear, camping equipment, several changes of clothes, 4 cell phones, 2 driver's licenses, his and his brother's ID. Scott's father, Lee Peterson, explained that Scott had used his brother's license the day before to get a San Diego resident discount at the golf course, and that Scott had been living out of his car because of the media attention. Police and prosecutors, however, saw the items as an indication that Peterson had planned to flee to Mexico. Surely his parents couldn't have been that dumb to really believe that excuse that he had used his brother's ID to get a discount at golf. You're going golfing, and your wife and son has been found washed up, murdered, washed up in the San Francisco Bay? Cold-hearted. Okay, so Scott, on April 21st, 2003, Scott was arraigned in Stanislaus County Superior Court. I probably didn't pronounce that right, before Judge Nancy Ashley. He was charged with 2 felony counts of murder with premeditation and special circumstances. He pled not guilty. Um, so they moved his trial to San Mateo County because so many people had already made up local people had made up their minds about Scott Peterson's guilt. His trial began on June 1st, 2004. On November 12th, 2004, Scott Peterson was convicted of first-degree murder for his wife's death and second-degree murder for Carter Peterson's death. Judge Alfred A. DeLucci sentenced Scott to death, calling the murder of Laci cruel, uncaring, heartless, and callous. And we know yesterday, um, Scott Peterson's death sentence was overturned. So they're going to have a new trial for that. But, he's going to get life in prison without the possibility of parole. Thank God they didn't overturn his murder conviction. I'm sorry, guys. I get all tongue-tied when I get on here live. Anyways, I just wanted to read that for you guys and get a video up for Patreon. I've been really busy lately, so it's been a while since I've been able to just sit down and do a video and for you guys. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I'm going to be doing some more crime videos like this where I just read and we learn all about a specific true crime case. Next time, I think we're going to do Eileen Warnock's. Anyways, thanks for your support. I love you guys. Peace.